Hello, my name is Jesse Krim, and I am applying for the Apprentice Level 3 opportunity at LinkedIn for mobile and user interfaces and so on. I just wanted to show you the magic that I built with uh, mimicking a shopping app experience. And I linked this to Google's Firebase. So I'm working with Firebase for the database and authentication. So here we can see that we have one user, test@test.com. So I'm going to switch to sign up, and of course we got error validation happening. So I'm going to switch to sign up. I'm going to sign up a new user. Sign up my email. Actually, I'm missing a period in between, not that it really matters. And we'll make this test123. So we're going to sign up and sign in. And as you see, if I reload this page, we should see a user. And here I am. And so I just want to show you uh, some of the logout features. So if I log out, I'm going to log out right away, and I'll show you how this works in my code. And then, of course, I'm going to log in again. And I want to bring attention to the difference between how this looks on iOS and Android. So as you can see, the top, the header is different, and you'll see just a couple differences in the native, the way that the app looks natively in both cases. I'm using native icons for iOS versus Android. We're getting a little warning due to an Android feature for the token that we're using and the amount of time that I have logged in. So right now I have an auto logout for when the token expires in 60 minutes. And that's actually something I could show you right now. So if I go here into my auth action, I can, under my logout, where my set logout timer is, I can do the expiration time and divide by 1,000 because that'll take it into milliseconds. And now I should log out in 3 seconds. And there it goes. And Android's a little slower, but here it is. I shall log out in about 3.6 seconds. And there I am. So I'm just going to set that back here. And of course, this is using Redux to manage my state that I'm passing throughout my entire application. I have login, I have sign up, but I'm really using authenticate, setting the logout timer and dispatching authenticate with the token and the specific user ID throughout the app. So let's sign back in. Oh, and there's just so much functionality that I can show you. So, well, actually, I could do it this way. I'll log in with jesse.krim. Oh, of course, I'm error handling here. So if I don't have, or if I enter the wrong password and I log in, this password is not valid. Let's do the right one this time. And here I'll log in with test123. I'm sorry, test@gmail.com. Test123. And okay, hold on. Test.com. So here we have all the products in the app. As you can tell, I'm a big fan of cars. And let me show you. Let me run you through some basic functionality. So we have the drawer here. Here we see products, orders, and admin, and these are stored in the Firebase database. So as you can see here, tests orders, which is this user ID, we have 3 different orders, which you can see here. And in here, we're storing the cart items, the title, I'm sorry, the value of each item and the total cart total, as you can see here, along with the date, which we're storing. And we can also see all the products that are on the home screen here. So let's add a couple products to the cart. And I know these cars are some of the top in the world, astronomical. Here, if you saw the loading spinner, I set that up by using state with the use state hook with React hooks. And then again, if we log our orders, you could see the loading time there for the user, which I think is a really nice feature. And of course, we just added our first order for the second user that I created before. So another thing that I want to show you is in your admin. So here I've created a product before in the first user, in the test user, and I'll go ahead and create a product for Jesse Krim. And I have one pulled up here. This is an incredible car. It's the Ferrari SP1. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. I'm going to pull the image from the internet. And of course, I'm handling errors here. There we go. Just making sure that I don't have any space in this URL. All right, this car goes for about 1.8 million, and it's a brand new Ferrari with one seat, the ultimate sports car. So I'm going to go ahead and add the product, and as you can see, it pulled up here. And one thing that I also want to show you is that I implemented a refresh, as you can see here, and this car should show up there on the all product screen. Wow, perfect. So again, I can add this car to the cart. I can view, and we could order it just like that, 3 of them. So this is a little bit about how the app works, and I'll go through some of the things I did in my code. So I built components. I separated them between shop and UI components. With some of the components like card, I'm really just creating the basic styles here, and then passing extra styles through props that I'm, when I'm using cards. So for instance, in cart item. So here I am, maybe not cart item. So here in product item, I'm using card. Was I using card there? Yes, okay, so card is the wrapper in most of these components. And of course, you can see what I'm doing here in my order items. I'm mapping through the orders, passing the props from cart item. So we can go to cart item, where I'm passing props down all along. Let's see, what else can I show you? So an input here is a pretty tricky component. So I needed to do a couple things. I needed to use a reducer and use effect. And in the reducer, I am managing the state of the input. So we're starting with initial values if they're passed in. And then this use effect is managing the change of the state. And then here in text change handler, we are validating the text that is entered in. This specifically is for, we use this for the authentication in the email as well as for editing and adding products in the admin screen here. And then of course we're dispatching input change. And we're also using different blur effects when a user clicks off a component and did not enter something. We're validating that, saying, as you can see here. And we are passing input in a couple different places, specifically the edit product screen. So in the edit product screen, each of our inputs is our custom component input, we're passing this required prop, which is what is creating the error text, which we are also passing. So a lot of things being passed around here. We are also configuring the keyboard type when necessary, as well as dispatching actions from our Redux store, and also making sure to handle the errors when necessary. We are also using navigation options, so that's something I should talk about next. So in this case, we need a dynamic header option between edit product and add product. So we needed to get the get and set params. So I'm passing params up here with use effect from submit handler. And this is either going to load our form state with edited product, which is the data that we already had when we are going back to edit our product. For instance, in admin, when we click edit, versus adding a new product, as you see on iOS. So when we do that, we are determining whether we're editing a product or adding a product, and also determining using the platform API. This is how we're getting different styles on the iOS versus the Android, making it look more like a native application. And last but not least, I will show you. I'll go through the navigation, the shop navigator. So here we're doing a couple different things. First of all, I described my default navigation options, where I'm setting the font family, and of course I'm bringing in a custom font family in my assets, setting different things as you could see there, creating a few different stack navigators. So here's the one for the product screen. Also setting navigation options here with the drawer icons. Then we have our orders navigator. So this is the orders drawer here. And then, of course, we have our admin navigator. Of course, setting these drawer icons and also our default navigation options. And then here's our drawer navigator altogether, which is stacking up our specific stack navigators. And then, of course, we have our auth screen. And this is what I am choosing to load first, is the startup screen in our application, and then determining whether the user is signed in or is not signed in before taking him to the shop navigator. And let's see our startup screen. So here we are seeing if the user is logging in, and we are setting the tokens from user data in our auth actions using async storage, where we get the token and the user ID, and we are walking through different, and then as you see here, we are setting the expiration date, which I just did some math to determine. And going back to the startup screen, you can see that we're running try login and returning our activity monitor or our loading monitor to show the user that something is working on their end. And here we're fetching our fonts. We are setting the font to be loading, and we are wrapping our navigation container in the provider with the store where we have our root reducer, and we're applying Redux-thunk because we need asynchronous actions here by allowing us to do async things like querying um, the Firebase database with our API, key, excuse me, and sending the proper body and headers that we need to do, as well as dispatching the proper actions. And with that, I think this is a long enough video, so thank you so much for your time, and looking forward to talking to you guys more. Thank you. Bye.